Hello, my friends, and welcome to another exciting episode of the Party Nerds Podcast, coming to you live from a triple secret location high in the Hollywood Woodland Hills area of Los Angeles. I'm Richard Gabai, joined by Robert Carradine. This is a special interstate edition because we are joined by TV star Mr. Jesse Hutch, actor, director, stuntman. Anything I left out?
Father,
husband, that's probably number brother,
one. Son, stranger.
stranger, but the research team, which is basically my son and daughter, put this piece of paper in front of me, and I don't understand how we haven't worked together because we've worked with so many of the same great people. What are you out on there now? You're out on location, you said.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and currently near Salt Lake City, Utah, and we're filming Homestead for Angel Studios. So we had a feature film that hit theaters this past December. We did 2 episodes to follow up that movie, and now we're finally finishing season 1. So excited to sort of be in a position now where eventually everybody can tune in and get the whole first season done.
Nice. And are you just acting in that, or are you one of the directors as well?
No, I'm strictly brought on as cast. However, through a series of just voluntary events, I also ended up helping to build quite a machine that I won't explain what it is because it'll ruin. I don't want to give anything away, but let's just say that if you've ever seen Mad Max, then maybe this will excite you. So I ended up taking about 3 days with the owner of the Homestead and the writer of the books, Jason, and some of his team. We built something that just turned out epic. So they're using it to film now. So maybe I'll get a credit in, I don't know, art, design, set deck, set build, who knows.
Are you filming today?
The production is filming, but I wasn't on set today, no.
Okay.
Instead, I decided to do 2 workouts, one of my own this morning, and then I ended up meeting up with Kevin Lawson and Manny McCord, who are 2 of the other cast members, and I hit another workout with those beasts. So now I feel like I got run over by a dump truck. It's great.
So are you at altitude there?
Yes, definitely.
Well, how high is it there?
Well, when we go up to film, we're probably pushing 5,000 plus, just driving up the mountain.
Yeah, well, that's nice.
So Salt Lake City, of course, which is where I am currently in this minute. But every time we drive up that mountain, my ears are popping, and then I come down and the ears are popping.
I've shot a couple of times in Santa Fe, and I don't do these monster workouts. I know you do them, and I know Bobby Carradine does these monster workouts all the time. But when I go up to Santa Fe, I need like 1 day to sort of acclimate. I take the stairs to get me sort of oxygenated, right? Because there's an adjustment.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely affects you. You think it wouldn't, but like we had a day last week. We were filming. Most of for me anyway, my character, most of what I do is exterior. So we're outside, and I had like 1 day all of a sudden where I was like, oh man, it's just me, guys? Or like, it's just harder. Right. It's harder today. It feels harder, and everybody's like, oh man, I think the barometric pressure changed or something. We're all hurting, and so. Yeah, we're up there and maybe we're filming some action scenes in the bush or we're running up and down a trail and you start feeling it.
Yeah, I remember on my first film, we got the location. This is in Colorado, and they called lunch, and me and all my co-stars ran for the lunch truck, and we didn't realize we were at 7,000 feet. And I mean, we got to the lunch table and we couldn't catch our breath, man. It was gnarly.
Yeah.
So your Homestead series, we looked it up. Is that the same show that my friend Sam Page was on? You did a couple episodes?
Yeah, Sam was awesome.
Yeah, he's great.
Guy.
He's another guy that it's so good looking. He just makes guys like us nauseous.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Yeah, well, Bobby, yeah. When I think hunk, yeah. But Sam is great, and he's a great actor. He did a cameo for me in a film with another one of our mutual friends, I'm sure, Lacey Chabert. And we made a thriller called 180, which became Imaginary Friend. And he did a cameo for me in that. And then I made another thriller that starred Elizabeth Rome and Sam Page. And Elizabeth Rome plays someone who's recently become blind. and Sam is her psychotic, creepy caregiver. And while I don't know what kind of a role he plays on your show, and while he probably, with your look, you could play kind of a little more of an edgy whatever. But when you look at Sam Page, you think in the dictionary under American, he would be the man. He's got that all-American thing, and he really played one hell of a psycho. So tell us about the role you're playing in the show you're doing.
That's awesome. No, Sam's great, man. It was great to finally meet him. I'd heard of him just online and through other friends, Joe Wagner, all these other friends that had known of him and worked with him. So it's great when you're on something for a regular run because you get to meet just so many more people, and you see cast come in and go, and people guest star, and even crew, right? You get to build a rapport, you build a family, you find a groove. And that doesn't happen all the time as performers. I mean, sometimes we get passed around from one team to the next, and it happens so fast. And so this is a wonderful stop and a wonderful blessing to be able to just kind of get in here. And so to answer your question as well, basically, the show, if anyone knows the premise or maybe they don't, basically in a nutshell, a nuclear weapon set off on the West Coast that puts into catastrophic events such as the power grid goes down, the internet. The Russians apparently step in and utilize some of their specific assets, and then we basically are following a whole, everybody who's starting to fall apart, right? It's like, well, grocery stores are starting to become depleted, gasoline's starting to run out, people are starting to panic. The system that we know is starting to collapse, and so we follow a series of people that end up on a 300-acre homestead, and they have to learn to survive together. So I actually am brought in as part of a security detail, which is hired to protect the homestead. So I play a Green Beret, and we just hit a lot of themes. I mean, everything from, do you love your neighbor as yourself? Really? Do you let them in? Do you keep them out? Do you use all guns? Do you use all grace? Do you share? Do you, what happens when your food gets destroyed? Do you trust everybody? Is there people on your side that stab you in the back? Is there people that decide that they need to take care of their family and that's more important than the collective group? And so we really explore all these themes through the eyes and the lens of families and teenagers falling in love, and kids, and military individuals. And I think it's really exciting and unique. It's one of those rare projects that I've done in my 25 years so far in this business, where I watched the movie and then I watched the 2 episodes that we have done so far. And I was like, what is this? Like, I felt like I wasn't even watching me. It was just this show. And that was cool. It's really cool to experience that.
That's freaking awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
We're definitely, Bobby?
Yes.
Put it on the list.
Put it on the list.
So when we've been meeting people, and most of our guests have been friends of mine or friends of Bobby's, and inevitably we're talking about a project that one of us doesn't know about. And Bobby says he started this thing. He goes, "I'm putting it on the list. All these different movies." So that's
fantastic.
Sounds freaking awesome.
What,
And
what channel is it on?
You can watch it on Angel Studios app. So they have their own streaming app.
Angel Studios.
Angel Studios.
Cool.
Yeah.
And you got
the movie itself, you can actually still get on like Apple TV and all that stuff. So the movie is basically the pilot.
Okay.
To our series.
Cool.
Yeah.
And so you have the, I guess, the advantage of blessing with what's going on, and now you're working in Utah, of actually being Canadian. Because when I've gone up and directed in Vancouver, and I'm the alien guest, but you, because I see you've done all these phenomenal TV shows: Supernatural, Arrow, Batwoman, season 1 of Batwoman, Smallville. Any of those stand out? Because I mean, those shows have such huge fan bases, every single one of them.
Yeah, super cool to be a part of the CW world in many ways. Batwoman for me stuck out, but that's just because the role was a character who actually exists in the comic books for real. And I got to be the sort of one of their main antagonists that season. So my character ultimately gets injected with Bane's venom and starts to like generate extra muscle and start to lose it up here. And he's splitting the line between reality and just chaos. And I had a blast playing that character. And playing antagonist is actually pretty fun. So I'd say for the first 10 years of my career, when I was in my 20s, I was always sent out for like the jerk, the jock, the guy who hates everybody, the guy who breaks all the girls' hearts. I was always the bad guy. And it was honestly a great way to start my career. And then there was a break for like another 10 years. And now it's just starting to cycle back where people are like, wait, I think you'd be a really good like antagonist. You think, are you interested? And I'm like, 100%. Like, there's just something about people who hurt people. I think there's more to them. There's more depth. There's more, there's just memories and pain and things that they have to deal through. And that allows me as the performer to really come up with things that I think are just real for a lot of us. Like, not that people are inherently bad, but I think people are always dealing with something real. Like, we're hurt. We've been through death. We've maybe been through divorce, maybe financial breakdown, maybe just disease, sickness. I mean, all these things we all can resonate and feel with on some level. And I love to be able to do my best to honor the people that I represent, whether it's a true character or fictional.
And also you always remember the bad guy. Also, it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun, and also maybe a guy you love to hate. And I think there is that fine line. And so the reason we're talking right now is because of our mutual friend, the great sweetheart of America, Jen Lilley.
Yeah.
She's the best.
Jen Lilley.
Yeah, she's the best. She starred in a movie for me with America's sweetheart Danica McKellar. They were both in a thriller, and I will unashamedly try and take credit for starting both of their TV movie careers, because I think both of their first TV movies was Jen was in Mommy I Didn't Do It, which was the sequel to The Wrong Woman, which she starred in with Danica. But yeah, the one I did with Danica at first was a longer time ago. But Jen is, it's a given that she's a phenomenal actress, but she's an amazing person. So when did you meet her? What movies did you do with her? Because I know I looked on IMDb and you're like in 25 Hallmark movies. It's like unbelievable.
Yeah, in the romantic comedy space, it's been an incredible space to be in. I never thought that would ever happen. And yet here I am, and I love jumping around. So I love being able to be in like the CW world and now on Homestead, and yet still go do a Christmas movie or pop off a romantic comedy. And as a performer, I love that switch of gears. I love the different fan base. And I also love the opportunity to work in a different medium. So Jen, oh my goodness, Jen and we've done so many things together now. She's practically an agent of mine, because she'll just call me and like rope me into things, and I have no idea what's about to happen. Like, I ended up doing a Christmas movie with her, and then because I did that, she calls me up and she's like, oh, by the way, because you did the movie with me, you're now going to host the Chicago Thanksgiving Day Parade with me. And we ended up doing that 2 years in a row. And then all of a sudden I'm on a interview, right, with individuals such as yourself. And it's all because of Jen. She has a big heart. She always thinks of others. And her and her husband and family are fantastic. They're good friends of ours. We love trying to connect with them whenever we can. And sometimes we road trip out that way. I have other friends that are kind of all in the neighborhood. And so we all get together and hang out. She called me and was like, okay, we're going on a cruise ship. We're doing a celebrity cruise. And I was like, what? Like, okay. So Jen's just like signing me up for stuff. So.
Oh, she is your agent. Because when I mentioned, hey, well, Bobby and I are making shows all week. You've had any friend or anyone that you think might enjoy, and because we are a new show, but we're growing pretty quickly, thankfully. Yeah. Really very grateful for that. And she wrote me back, Jesse Hutch. And you're a name that I've heard a bunch of times, because I've directed a couple of Hallmark movies and been up to Canada and worked up there. And in fact, you starred in a movie with Tia Mowry, who starred in my Christmas movie that I made. I made right around that same, I don't remember because the years kind of come together. Right around the same time, I made a movie called A Gingerbread Romance. I think it might have been a year after that one. But I loved working with her.
Oh, Tia's amazing. We had such good conversations too when I met her, right? A fellow parent. She had just had her baby at the time. And so, and she's funny as heck. Oh, we had so much fun making that movie together. I'd work with her again too, anytime. And Danica, of course, is a really good friend of ours. We were neighbors for a little while. And, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag too early. I don't know when this episode airs, but I may or may not be doing a film with her.
Aha. Nice. Good
And
to
that's very new information.
Hey, man, what part of Canada are you from?
Well, I was originally born in Alberta,
Uh-huh.
which is why it says on a lot of my bios I was born in the same place as Wolverine. And they're not wrong. And then I was like 1 month old though. We moved to Saskatchewan, and I lived there till I was 11. My parents divorced. That took me to Ontario with my mother.
Right. So
And
what,
then I
Toronto?
lived there until early 20s, and then eventually started pursuing this crazy business after I had a drowning experience, and that turned my life around. And I ended up flying to Vancouver, BC, where I then started pursuing acting, and that took me to LA, which sent me back to Vancouver, which sent me back to LA, and I did that for 22 years.
Wow.
And now we're based out of Franklin, Tennessee.
That's great, man. Are you, does that mean you're a dual citizen?
I'm not a dual citizen, no.
No.
I've had 701 visas in 25 years.
I don't know what that is, but I'm glad you got them.
and forgive me if it's too personal. Just tell me to take a hike. But you kind of went over this thing about a drowning experience, and I was like, wait a minute. What? Do you mind sharing us how that changed you or how it affected you? And if
Yeah,
you,
no, there's as my career keeps growing and I keep doing more and more interviews, that's really allowed me to almost like step back and have a view of my life and sort of chart this graph. And I'm starting to realize now, it's like, wow, that actually impacted me. Some things are obvious that they impact you, but if I could chart it out, right, it was like bigger things, like when my parents divorced, that absolutely shaped who I was in that moment and has changed my life. The next big thing probably would have been when I drowned to death at 21. I was underwater from 11 to 22 minutes.
Wow.
The short nutshell version is that I was a professional whitewater raft guide on class 1 to 5 rapids, and I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Wasn't anybody's fault. It's just the kind of the way it worked out, the series of events. I ended up in a second current below the main surface current. And it was 11 to 22 minutes later, roughly, they guesstimate, and anywhere between 3 to 5 miles that they found me down the river. The raft group that was ahead of us found me, and somehow they dragged me out of the water. I guess pounded on my chest, started, beating me up a little bit. I was puking water. Apparently, I ended up in a vehicle. I got transported to a hospital where they put me in a barometric pressure chamber. And I guess I went down too fast, came up too fast. So my eardrums had kind of blown. And somehow, absolute miracle, I ended up just walking out of the hospital. They were like, wow, we've checked everything. The water is completely out of your body. I think you should just take it easy for like a couple weeks. And I went home and I sort of sat on the edge of my bed. I was trying to put myself through second year college. And I really kind of had a growing of my faith at that point. And I said, is this really what you want me to do with the rest of my life, God? Like what's the point here? And funny enough, I went back to work. I swam that same rapid in my life jacket because I was so deathly afraid of water that I knew I had to overcome this. And the only way I knew how was to go get back in the water and swim it in a life jacket. So I did that. And when that was finished, I picked up a shift in the kitchen to make some extra jig, trying to pay off these college books. And I heard this ad on the radio, and it was for something called Model Search America, which was, kind of a money grab, but still gave people opportunity. And maybe you guys remember these events, and I heard the ad and it was like, blah, 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 blah. And you could meet the casting director from 20th Century Fox, and I was like, whoa, they make cool movies. Because I was the kid who always collected the movie posters. I always loved watching movies, but I never, ever in my mind was like, I'm going to make movies. That didn't even cross my bandwidth. Like I didn't even know that was a thing. But I just love watching them. And so when I heard that ad, And I just came out of this experience and I'm thinking about my life and I'm wondering what I'm going to do with it. That just caught my attention and I immediately felt this like urge, go to that thing. So I literally left the job right there. I went and got in my jalopy Volkswagen Rabbit car and I'm like, and I cruise all the way to Ottawa, Ontario. And I go to this, meeting that they were having, and there was like thousands of people there. They were all fantastic looking people. They were dressed so nice, and they had all the pictures and the clothes, and everybody smelling good. And I was like, I do not fit in here. I'm wearing jeans and shorts and Tevas, and I'm tan to the max, and I got scrapes and cuts all over me from swimming and going through the bush and whitewater kayaking, and that ultimately became the kickoff, which led to a bigger event, which I paid for, of course. Paid for the hotel, pay to go. I showed up. I thought, why not do it? It was in Rochester, New York. And I ended up being the last number called out of 2,500 people. They kind of call your number if any of the judges are interested, right? And it was the last number that I got called. It was like red 95624 9BC. And it was for 20th Century Fox, and I ended up meeting Christopher Kaplan, who still to this day is the head of casting now for 20th Century Fox Studios, and he's the one who ultimately was like, "Your accent's horrible, your pictures suck, you are clearly green. I don't know where you're from. I've never heard of this town that you live in," but he said, "There's a chance if you pursue this and you go after it. Maybe there's something." And that ultimately was the first sort of breadcrumb that I started following. And of course, there's been another million of those since. But that's ultimately what kicked it off.
Amazing. And I'll tell you, that's breathtaking. And, well, maybe you'll make that movie one day, huh?
I actually have started writing it as not like your typical romantic comedy, but aspects of my true story mixed with sort of a romantic comedy spin on it. But yeah, it is something that I have started to work on. I haven't visited the script in a little while, but my writing partner and I, he's a good friend of mine. We've been friends since my kids were born. And him and I have written about 24 scripts together. And of those 24, we have about 11 that are in a good spot. And of those 11, we have 4 that are kind of keep rising to the top right now. So we're currently pursuing financing, distribution, pipelines, putting on that hat that I don't like to wake up and wear it, but I also don't like sitting around waiting for someone else to just like knock on my door and hope to give me an opportunity.
Right. Hey, when my career started, right out of college, I booked a couple of commercials as an actor, and I found myself, sitting on my couch, eating grapes, maybe a couple of pretzels, watching TV, just waiting for my agent to call me, and checks are coming in the mail. So thank God I was like, fine. But I just, the work ethic, I need to go to work. I want to go to work. I don't want to not go to work just because this week I don't have to. And we all know, Bob Areno, in this business, that things are not guaranteed and things aren't steady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nothing. Does this? There's a new series you have on Great American Family, Crossroad Springs. Is that?
Yeah, that literally airs. Let me see. I think it's the 28th of August. I had something that I brought up here so that I could tell you that. Let me open the document they sent me. Yep, August 28th on Great American Pureflix. So yeah, I play the antagonist in that series. That's kind of like dare I compare it to Yellowstone, but it's like the family version, right? So
right.
No one's going to the train station.
So are you Rip?
Man, there's maybe a little aspect of that. It's I basically play the neighbor who's, all of our property sort of butts up against each other, and there's been family feuds for decades and generations, and there's a big part of the generation of my family that the lead family just doesn't appreciate. And so I think I'm kind of the son who's stuck with the father's choices, and I have to now try to live out, take care of my property, and be the neighbor that everybody kind of just despises just because that's the way it's been.
That sounds like fun. So you got Homestead, and you got Crossroad Springs coming soon, and maybe a triple secret movie that nobody knows about coming soon. now as a veteran of this business, and it happens in a blink, you're now considered a veteran in this business. What would you say to the next generation starting up? What's the best bit of advice you ever got, or the best bit of advice you could give?
It's okay to slow down and take time to really establish who you are. And that could be your moral choices. It could be your goals. It could be your dreams, your hopes. And those will shift as you mature and as you grow. But don't let the industry necessarily tell you those things, but it will help shape those things. And so just know that it's okay for you to say no, and it's okay for you to say yes. And so really slow down and know when your yes is yes and your no is no, because this business sometimes just keeps on going and it doesn't slow down. And then there's times that it's so slow you feel it's going to stop. And so it's important to know who you are and what you stand for and what you believe in and what you won't do and what you will do. And that's a broad statement, but it will quickly be narrowed depending on what aspect of this business you're in, right? If you're an actor, director, producer, something's going to hit you and something's going to challenge you. And it's going to make you question whether you want to tell that type of story, or do you want to be that type of person in business? Do you want to handle your money that way? Is this something that you should continue to push through, even if your family's being, pushed to the side of the road? Is it something that you just don't feel good about, but you're doing it anyway? I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to say a lot of things without saying a lot of things.
I think you said something beautiful, and I think it's great advice. And I'm real grateful that Jen introduced us, and may we see each other next time on set. Thank you so much, Jesse. Jesse Hutch.
Thank you. I'd love to work with you guys and find something we could collaborate on. Let's do it.
We will do it. So we'll see you soon. We'll look for all these new shows you're on, and we'll also, now that we know each other, I'm kind of curious to go back to these shows that I've seen and see which episodes which guy you were, and I'll check it out.
Yeah, well, if you, as you know, man, if you stay in this business long enough, stuff comes back around. So I have people now that are bringing things up, and
why do you have to remind me? Stuff keeps coming back around that I wish would just go away.
Well, like I was in a movie called Freddy versus Jason, and of course, people just still, that'll come out of the woodwork and be like, "You're that guy? Oh my goodness, you're such a jerk, and then you died such an awesome way."
That doesn't hurt if you go to autograph shows with the horror fans. They're the best.
They are.
I've done a number of those, and I love meeting fans, man. That's the only way it comes full circle, is to go to these conventions or do like a Christmas con or go on these boat rides. Go shopping at Costco and run into people. It's like that's the only way it comes full circle, because as you know, when we're making films, we're on set, and it's just such a separate entity, and like no one's there except for your team. And so it's great to run into people and hear their thoughts and their heart.
Thanks so much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.
See you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes an interstate episode of the Party Nerds Podcast. I'm Richard Gabai, Robert Carradine. Please like and subscribe. Jesse Hutch, thanks again. Thanks so much.
See you, Jesse.
Thank you.